Hi, and welcome to Something for the Weekend, brought to you as always by Together 2012. We're an arts organisation led by disabled artists in the main Paralympic host borough of Newham. We're creating a Paralympic cultural legacy and doing much, much more, I have to say, since the pandemic started. I'm Ju Gosling, also known as Ju90. I'm an artist and artistic director of Together 2012. And with me, where she's been locked down since March 2020, is our chair, the artist and activist, Julie Newman. We're going to come back to my studio in East London for some further introductions and audio description in a moment. But first, we go to the other end of our long virtual wheeled sofa, all the way to the West Midlands for some introductions and audio description. As always, we're dressed up to go out to stay in, so they're also going to tell you what they're dressed up to go out to stay in to do today.
Well, hello everyone. This is Tracy, and yes, we are in our West Midlands studio, and behind us we've got our red velvet curtains, and I'm going to describe myself. So today I am wearing a pink bobble hat with a really cute furry bobble at the end. I've got pale skin, blue eyes, and I'm wearing a turtleneck woolly jumper in a salmon colour. And over that I've got my very bright orange waterproof, and I'm wearing some black leggings. And today I'm dressed up to go out to stay in to a COP26 rally.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Cool.
Robin.
And what do I look like? Well, hello, everybody. I'm Robin Surgener, Business Director at Together, and an artist hidden away somewhere in here, known as Angry Fish. So what do I look like today? So I am wearing my black rimmed glasses in front of what you can see of my beardy face, white beardy face, in fact. I am wearing a black beanie, and over the top of that I've got the hood, a green hood of a two-tone green thermal coat jacket overhead thing. It's dead posh, actually, but because I am dressed to go to the North Pole to gather up plastic waste and bring it back to be recycled.
Excellent. Well, there's a bit of a theme of plastic waste and COP26, and that's going to be running throughout this programme. We're also going to tell you how you can join in some COP26 activities from home later in the second half of our show in our feature The Week Ahead. But in the meantime, as I said, I'm Ju Gosling, also known as the artist Ju90. What do I look like, and what am I dressed up to go out to stay in to do today? Well, I've got a self-styled hennaed corona crop under a grey trilby. I've got a green t-shirt which has got a picture on it of a nun spinning the decks. I've also got green eyes behind black plastic glasses, black plastic wrist braces, silver coloured jewellery, and I am dressed up to go out to stay in to go to our Zoom Together tonight. Zoom Together takes place on the first Thursday of every month. It's completely free, like everything we do. It's open mic based, and it's an opportunity for you to come along, sing a few songs together, perform a song on your own, read a poem, or just sit back and enjoy what everybody else is doing. So if you'd like the Zoom link to join us tonight, Thursday, for Zoom Together, then drop us a line, info@together2012.org.uk. And just to add, behind us we have the Together graffiti banner. You can only see a little bit of it on the screen, but it's covered with images of all the different art forms we cover during the year. So dance, drama, live music, photography, filmmaking, poetry, spoken word, visual arts, carnival arts, street art, and more. So, also, we have Tanny, our little golden sporty teddy bear, and Tanny is waiting to see whether she's finally going to be successful in being able to wear a medal if we win the Clockwork Paralympics. Also coming up in the second half of the show. But Julie, tell us, who are you? What do you look like? What are you dressed up to go out to stay in to do?
Hi, I'm Julie Newman. I'm the chair of Together 2012. Today, I am actually a white woman with dark rimmed glasses and rampant hair, which is gold and silver, underneath a black pork pie hat with a grey band. I'm wearing a black t-shirt, which has a TARDIS on it and a picture of an image, rather, of a person in silhouette, and some spacey stuff at the bottom. I'm wearing silver bangle and silver and purple amethysty type beady bracelet and a little freedom woven thing around my watch. I'm dressed up to go out to stay in to actually give Jodie Whittaker a hand. I think she's embattled and she needs a hand to fight the Sontarans on Doctor Who.
So, can I just hazard a guess that amongst some of your recommendations later for the week ahead, there might be a little bit of TV viewing of a BBC kind going on?
Absolutely. I'm enraptured with the BBC at the moment. I think it's doing really well. And I love Doctor Who. I think it's very difficult to follow. I don't always understand the plot, but I do get engrossed in the activity and the action and the struggle, and I love it.
And yet, although I can legally call myself Dr. Ju, it doesn't seem to have the same impact for Julie at all. Never mind. So we're going to move on and listen to some we will read and also listen to some poems that were written this week in the Together 2012 Pop-Up Poetry Club. The Pop-Up Poetry Club meets every Wednesday by telephone from 10:30 to 12. We phone you and we pay for the call. We set a theme every week, and this week's theme is plastic waste. And people, so you can also join in from home. People prepare poems beforehand or sometimes write the whole poem during the morning. But we also do some breathing exercises, share other poems, spend some time writing, and then come back for the last 20 minutes, half an hour, to share the poems that we've written on the theme. So if you'd like to join the Pop-Up Poetry Club, there's more details on our website, www.together2012.org.uk, or just drop us a line, info@together2012.org.uk, and we will send you all of the details, get your phone number, and get you started. It's free, it's open to all disabled people and whoever you want to have with you, wherever you live, and all abilities are welcome. You don't have to have any previous experience. You'll get that writing the poems. So, Julie, would you like to start with a poem?
Yes, this is from Alison Marchant, who's our programme leader. She's also an international artist, I have to add. It's called Plastic Waste, not surprisingly. A piece of plastic, a simple piece of plastic, causes so much damage. The supermarket sells oranges in plastic netting. It becomes microplastic, and before then, causes animals on landfill sites to entangle their feet. A carrier bag floats on the ocean, and sea creatures are eating them. The plastic lines their stomach, they are dying. Plastic bags float to the surface of the oceans, rivers, and lakes. There is more plastic at the bottom of the ocean lying there, while consumers use them by their millions. A few use and reuse paper bags. People are using face scrubs. The abrasive contained in them are microparticles of plastic that are washed down the sink, into the sewers, floating into the sea. There are tiny microplastics and shellfish, and probably the water that we consume.
Yes, sobering thoughts. And you can get face scrubs without plastics in, so do look for them. Tracy, what have you got for us?
Right, I'm going to start with a poem from Crystal Peasy, and it's entitled Plastic Waste. I recycle plastic containers and plastic bottles. Plastic waste affects the environment. Plastic waste also affects human health and causes pollution. Plastic waste affects wildlife. To save the environment and wildlife, everyone has to do their bit by recycling plastic waste. And we can do this together. To save life and the environment, plastic waste bins are everywhere. Different colours for different bins show where to put different waste. You can put right waste in the right bin. You can get sweet boxes made of cardboard. You can recycle this cardboard so that it's not wasted. You can put any cardboard into the recycling bin. Plastic waste destroys our world and our health, and everyone should put their litter in the bin, and you can recycle all kinds of plastic waste.
The poems will be up on our website by 3 o'clock on the day of recording on a page called, surprisingly, Highlights and Links, that has all of the poems, the artwork, the video, and details of the activities that we're recommending for the week ahead. So do check that out. I mean, one of the things that I really took from that poem is we don't have to be a non-disabled person going out and about to do our bit. We can be at home and we can still recycle, and that makes a massive difference. You know, there's things that all of us can do. And I think that's a really important message of COP26. It isn't just about world leaders, it's about all of us on the ground doing our bit as well. Robin, what have you got for us?
I have a lovely little short one from Glory Sengo called Plastic Cup. You put water in the plastic cup to drink it. Also, you can taste pineapple juice, and after that, you can drink milk. Then, you can drink apple juice and orange juice as well.
I love that, Glory. And what it really said to me is it doesn't have to be a single use plastic cup. And I think that's what Glory was trying to say. You know, you get given a cup of water, use it for other things. You know, don't just have a sort of single use piece of plastic and chuck it away. If you'd like to do anything with plastic bottles or other recycling, our Kitchen Carnival project remains online, and you can find it under our Join In From Home programme on our website www.together2012.org.uk. So plastic bottles, all sorts of other things. It's amazing what you can make with them. And we'll be looking more at recycled materials and what you can do with them in our Art Club report coming up soon. But in the meantime, who'd like to give us another poem? Tracy?
Yeah, I don't mind. So I've got another poem this is by Dawn Barber, and it's Plastic Waste. Let's hurry and get our boots on and get rid of our pollution and plastic waste. Cardboard and string and lots more of things. It's destroying our world and our animals. It's time to do our very best and get this world out of our mess for the cleaner, safer world. Let's keep going and
Sorry, we had a bit of a strange sound thing here, but thank you for that, Tracy. I've got this from Kate Rollison, who's our new youth development worker. Kate is a really interesting young artist, so I do encourage you to check out her work. And this is called The Marsh. There's a body in the water. No, a shop mannequin. Nothing behind the painted eyes. Wreathed in duckweed, a supermarket trolley's wheels jut out, aiming for the canal path, where unwanted history books tell redundant stories, splayed open in a puddle. Puddle educates itself. Puddle dries itself of boredom. From time to time, a narrowboat pulls up. Crates of 45s laid outside. Vinyl's in again. These records won't be thrown like a discus into the scummy water, but played at dinner parties. The hosts and guests wouldn't dream of consuming single-use plastics as they dance in their seats to the well-worn grooves. Thank you, Kate. That's really thought-provoking, and I'm going to enjoy reading that again on the website. Do you have another one for us, Robin?
I do. I've got one from Dwayne Bryan. This is called What We Throw Away. I throw away cans, I throw away tins, I throw away recycling stuff in the bin. Is there something for me to hold? Is there something for me to keep? Which one can I save for many, many weeks? They say recycling is good for the planet, but let's be honest, can people stand it? They say recycling can save time and money. So why don't I recycle? I could be lucky. I think recycling is a good thing. Just think of the joy it brings. It keeps you active and it seems so right. It gives you happiness and it makes you feel bright.
Brilliant. Thank you, Dwayne. And apologies to viewers. We do seem to have some ongoing problems with the sound that I'm afraid we can't do anything about because it's due to the internet provider. Julie.
Yes, thank you, Ju. I've got a poem called Plastic Waste, ? And it's spelt WAIST. Where do Barbies go to die? Is there Barbie heaven in the sky? And do they gather in the dead of night like a flock of angels ready for flight? Or without a word or other sign, do they quietly slip to another time where the world was again happy and gay with no thoughts of disaster to cloud the day? Is there a hillside somewhere in a jungle park where skulls of Barbies hide in the dark? Have they marched in silence to their ultimate end, driven by instinct when no repairs can mend their broken limbs, arms akimbo, legs lost in play? They know they must go, they cannot stay in a world of perfection, a world so bright. This is their destiny, their endless night. So has an invisible mountain of plastic waste gathered not far from here, foliage laced with limbs like spikes of plants, the hairy flowers poke through with faces like fairies. Or is their last march to the churning sea? Do they fling themselves in with a heartfelt plea? Please keep me safe in my final bed. Please keep my body secure with my head. What will become of their twisted limbs as they float into the ocean for that final swim? Their bodies may gather in an island grotesque, miles across, Barbies in states of undress. Lest this become real, let caution be your guide. Pause before dropping your dead Barbies inside that general waste bag. Instead, consider the sea and use plastic recycling as an end to Barbie.
Thank you, Julie. That was a very good one to end on. And I know that when you can get back to your studio by the Thames, you've actually got a whole bunch of Barbies there waiting to do something. Yes, we won't give anything away, but I think those were all recycled Barbies you got off eBay, weren't they?
Yeah, for sure. They're whole. I don't have little bits of Barbie lying around. I've got about 50 Barbies sitting on a little shelf over my desk, staring at me intensely.
Well, I think we might as well leave it there, don't you, Robin and Tracy? And we'll move on and see what the Together 2012 Art Club have been doing. The Art Club meets on a Tuesday and a Friday on Zoom from 11 to 12, and it's basically using things you already have at home. So on a Friday, we do a still life, and Alison Marchant, the artist who leads our club's programme, sets up a still life and photographs it, shares it on Zoom, and gives some audio description for people who've maybe not got a great connection or are just working on a phone. She can also send that image over by WhatsApp, text, email, and of course, we pop it on the website in the highlights and links page so you can have a go at home. And it's fine just to use biro. You know, these things don't have to be in colour. Bit of scrap paper, pencil, or a biro, have a go. So traditionally, we put up the image and we get Robin to describe it without seeing it. But in fact, it's not a very complicated image this week.
Okay, so this week we have what many of us know as a pair of Crocs. They are a plastic or a rubber sandal, hopefully recyclable. They are, in this case, they look like children's ones, so they are a kind of uh, a very deep pink color. But then the ankle strap is in a mint green, and then there is, I think it would be called the welt, but the band all the way round, kind of between the sole and the top of the shoe, again in a mint green, but with kind of shapes that are helicopters. In fact, looking at it now, there are little tiny helicopters in pink within the band that goes around the shoes. One shoe is flat, the other is lent on top of it.
Thank you, Robin. So I'm just going to go through some of the images that people did last Friday at the art club. And this is by Crystal Peasy, and Crystal has painted this. She's used blue for the outline and coloured in with pinks and also put some purples in. And once again, Crystal has reimagined herself above the still life. She hasn't actually used the angle. And I always find this really interesting, because if we were doing still life in person, we would be able to move around the object and look over it. But as it is, we just have this one picture that Alison takes. So when somebody imagines it in a different position, I'm always fascinated. Now, I'm hazarding, this is where I have to confess I don't know whose this work is by, but their name will be on it on the website. And I'm also not entirely sure quite what this has been done in. It's either pastel or paint, but it's a very faithful representation, and you really get a sense of the holes in the rubber. And again, this is a perfect example of how to draw in just using a soft pencil, maybe a bit of charcoal. Beautiful, really faithful picture of the shoes. It really looks like the shoes. And finally, we have one that's been signed. Thank you, Lee Brooker. That's a wonderful representation. I think this is some coloured pencil, but it's got very, very bright red on the colours for the shoes, and then essentially used a sort of blue-grey for the outside. And finally, this is by Sophia, and this is using pink and blue felt tip. So I thought that was a really good, collection and representation. And as always, everybody's is different. You don't have to show us your work. It certainly doesn't have to go on the live stream, but we do encourage you to join in from home. So I'm just going to look quickly at some other things the art club have been doing. On a Tuesday, they have a make and natter session. And that pretty much does what it says on the tin. People make things and natter as they go. We have a real choice of activity. If you've got a craft activity, could be modelling, could be anything really. Sewing, crochet, embroidery, knitting. But in fact, I think Alison's had a whole host more crafts than that. Then bring it along. But otherwise, we have a new activity every few weeks based on recycled materials and things that you already have at home. And some people just find an activity that they enjoy so much they carry on with that as well. But at the moment, the activity that the group is trying is salt dough modelling. And this is some examples from Sophia of what they've been working on this week. So they've been using the salt dough to create little heart shapes, which are then going to be pierced and have a ribbon going through. So you can see the heart shapes waiting to dry with the little holes in waiting for the ribbon. They've also tried coiling some flowers and coiling some roses. It's really straightforward. You need equal parts of plain flour, salt and water. And I think the cheapest flour we found was about 27p at Lidl's. You can put this in the oven to bake it, or you can simply leave it to air dry. So thanks for sharing that with us, Sophia. And then this is another of Duncan Bridgestock's recycled collages. This one is on an orange background. It's got 4 cut out white circles interspersed with these sort of L-shaped cutouts of purples and whites. I think that is actually some kind of cardboard packaging that Duncan's cut out. I'm delighted to say that we've got an exhibition of Duncan's opening in just a week's time, Thursday, the 11th of November, 7 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. We will be launching our Together Disability History Month Festival with 3 exhibitions. So we have the Together 2012 Open Exhibition, we have Duncan's exhibition, and we also have Vince Law's oil painting exhibition of self-portraits called Painting Myself Happy. We don't get to see these collages in great detail over Zoom, so I am so looking forward to seeing them all, on the website, beautifully scanned. And it's a great exhibition, and Duncan has called it simply Because I Felt Like It. So that's the art club. Again, if you want to join the art club, then drop us a line, info@together2012.org.uk, or just have a look on our website, www.together2012.org.uk. But now I'm delighted to say Tracy is going to present a special item on plastic waste. And next week we will have the return of Join In with Sterre. Sterre's not been able to get her film over to us for the last couple of weeks because of internet problems. So she sends her apologies. But if you want to have a look at some of the many activities that you can join in with Sterre, then go to the website. Under the Join In from Home programme, there's a link to join in with Sterre, and indeed lots of activities joining in with Tracy, including more information on how you can do the salt dome modelling. So over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Ju. I think recycling is the word on most people's lips at the moment, particularly with the COP26 conference that's going on. So we might all get a bit fed up of hearing about this in the next couple of weeks. Little adjustment there for me, thank you. Ju's got a couple of photos that I sent, a visualization. This is just one picture that I found of the amount of recycled plastic, and particularly thinking about recycling plastic at the moment. It's shocking. It's really shocking and upsetting to think about the huge amounts of waste that we get through as a nation. In fact, I think a fact that I've got is that in just the UK alone, we get rid of 50 million tonnes of plastic per year. And half of that, so 250 million tonnes of that, is in packaging. What can you say? I mean, we can't get away from it. You go to the shops now and everything is in plastic. Pop is in plastic. I'm old. I remember the days of the pop man coming round on a Sunday with his glass bottles, and you could take that glass bottle back to the shop and get 10 pence, and it was like, yay. But now everything comes in huge amounts of packaging. So we can all do our bit. We can all do even the smallest amount of things we can do. So one of the big things we can do is look for that recycled sign, which I've got a picture of. If you've got, packaging is horrendous. Some packages can be recycled, some can't. It doesn't always say. But if something has got this logo on it, which is like it's on the screen, it's 3 purple arrows. On most of your packaging, it will. Did I say purple?
You did.
I did. That's my favourite colour. It's green arrows. But on most packaging, it's going to be black and white. So it's going to be 3 black arrows in a circle. That means it can be recycled. If there's a line going through it, obviously it can't be recycled.
Ask you a question, please, Tracy.
Yes, please.
A big dispute for years between Julie and I has always been the kind of, don't put that in the recycling, you can't recycle it. Yes, you can, said Julie. And of course, we were both right. They had the symbol on, So in theory, you could recycle them. But in the London Borough of Newham, in fact, what you can recycle is really, really minimal. So most plastics go straight into landfill because the only plastic we can recycle in this borough is bottles. So I also think some of those recycling signs are a little bit misleading.
They are very misleading because a lot, I haven't got the facts for this one, but a lot of our recycling, as we assume, is actually shipped to other countries, and we're basically just dumping our rubbish on other countries. There are huge, huge mountains of land and landfills where we send our rubbish. So if we can get away from using plastic, which is going to be a tough call, even the plastic that says it's recycling, that would just help the environment so much. At the moment, I'm doing my best. I've gone over to soap. I've stopped using plastic, squeeze out your own soap, those sorts of things. I've gone back to bars of soap that comes in paper wrapping. And in fact, I'm really enjoying it. The smell is fresher, the feel is nice. You don't get hundreds of bubbles, but do we need bubbles if we're washing our hands? Because the bubbles are made from chemicals that it's a complicated, long word for the ingredients that make things froth. But basically, that's no good for the environment either. So one way you can get around using so much plastic is to go back to our basics, use our bars of soap. You can now buy bars of soap for your hair, for your body. Our bathroom doesn't need to have 7 bottles of conditioner and shampoo and body cream, and we just don't need it. We've been tricked into believing we need all of these things. Advertising is a powerful media, and they do try and persuade us, if you want to look beautiful and have long, glossy, shiny hair, we need 17 products. And actually, you don't. You need a nice bar of recycled, well, it's not recycled, you need a nice bar of organically grown plant-based materials, which will give you beautiful, shiny hair, cost you a third of the price of the 20 bottles of shampoo that you'll use in the time that you use your bar of soap, and rather than saving the planet.
So I think this is a visual representation of some of those.
Yeah, this is a typical bathroom, male or female. The men are just as bad as us for their products. You've got shampoo, you've got conditioner, you've got body lotion, you've got shower gel, you've got bubble bath. We don't need all of these things. We need one little bar of soap, and we can get rid of all of these single-use plastics.
I'd never even heard of soap bars for hair, but I'm definitely going to search them out.
Well, definitely. I've got something which will be on our pages for people to reference back, and I will make sure there's a link there for. There's quite a few companies now that do. They usually have to send away. I don't think you can get the shampoo in the supermarkets yet, in a bar. But yeah, definitely easy to get and very affordable.
Brilliant. So do you want your next image up, Tracy?
Yes, please. Yeah, this is just one example of the other big cause for plastic waste is straws. A lot of places now are going to paper straws, but those paper straws still get put in the recycling quote. And are they getting recycled, or are they going to landfill because they've got milkshake in or Coke in or tea in? Or this is just a really simple little thing that you can get, which is a pack of reusable straws made from a very thin sort of metal. You've got your straight straws, you've got a bended straw, and in fact you can get now a wider straw for your milkshakes and your slushies. And if you're worrying about health and hygiene and how to get the leftovers out of your straws, well, it comes with its own teeny tiny little straw cleaner, which is actually quite fun to use. like a little tiny scrubbing brush on a long pole, so you can get it right in there, make sure your straw is completely cleaned. And that all comes in a beautiful bamboo bag. So you can carry it around with you and never have an excuse to use another paper straw or plastic straw, should you be unlucky enough to be given one.
That's so clever. I mean, I've got a couple of straws that I try to reuse that are plastic straws, but like you say, it's about getting them clean. So we wouldn't usually promote any kind of commercial products, but I think in this case we will put the link in. And again, as disabled people, we're much more likely to use straws. You know, we're much more likely to have problems with our hands. So again, it's something really simple that we can do to help save the planet without ever leaving our own homes or indeed spending a great deal of money. So that's great, Tracy. What's your next photo?
This is actually, it's just a list of companies that do sustainable clothing, ethical and sustainable clothing brands. And when we say ethical and sustainable, I'm looking at companies that pay the living wage, that care about their carbon footprint, that are conscious about the amount of chemicals they use in making their clothes and the amount of water to make their clothes and the amount of water wastage. You would be so surprised how much water goes into making a pair of jeans. It is shocking. However, not all of us can afford these websites that do some amazing looking clothes, but not at an affordable price, but for most of us. However, there are quite a few shops now on the high street that have got their own sustainable, ethical range clothing. They don't all meet all of those standards I've just said, but they meet most of those standards and they're working towards it. And again, that will be on our website. That really quickly, you've got, am I allowed to name brands? Don't know. The high street, yeah. High street shops that you'll find most of these shops on the high street that have got their ethical brands. So look out for that and be mindful of buying from the sustainable brands.
The other sustainable thing you can do is charity shopping. And again, you don't have to leave home. I discovered some time ago Oxfam Online, which is a fabulous thing where what happens is the individual shops upload their products and they send them out, but they're all marketed and you can order them centrally. So yeah, Oxfam Online, and just that whole issue about, people have been saying you don't have to wash something every time you've worn it because that washes microplastics into the ocean. Wait till it's actually dirty and smelly, or perhaps not quite smelly, but wait till it's getting to that point. Don't just wear something for a few hours and throw it off. Don't throw things away. And yeah, just think about the planet. But now we're going to move on to something that's perhaps, well, it's not damaging the planet because these plastic toys already exist, but perhaps we will think about not buying any more. Our weekly Clockwork Paralympics, complete with commentary by our resident Paralympian, Robin Surgener. So in the Clockwork Paralympics, we race our toys to see whose teddy bear is going to be able to wear a medal in the coming week. We've already introduced Tanny, the honey-coloured sporty bear. Which teddy is competing for your medal this week, Robin?
We're having Tiny Ted this week.
That is Tiny Ted. Tiny Ted looks like he's going to drown in any one of your family's multiple medals. But here we go. So we're counting down. I think it's now 92 days to the Beijing Winter Games, which of course also include Winter Paralympics. So I'm racing clockwork snowmen in the bathroom again across a smooth floor. And if you want to join in from home, choose the one to support on the right or the left hand of the screen before we start the video. So what's your choice, Robin?
This afternoon, Birmingham are going to take the right-hand side of the screen.
So that's Birmingham 2022, the Commonwealth Games, on the right-hand side of the screen versus London 2012 on the left. And Emily Welsh says that she's voting right this week.
Here we are in our wonderful arena. ready to go. Competitor on the right looks slightly wonky already. Golly, I'm not sure if we've chosen correctly, but let's see what happens when the gun goes. Well, here we go. The snowmen are off to a flying start. There's definitely something in the air, making those snowmen do their thing. It's really good. It's oh crikey! It looks like it is the left-hand side. Congratulations to London. It is actually about time that they won. We had to give them a chance at some point.
Yes, it was becoming quite uncanny, the number of times that you managed to win, considering it's a game of chance, and I'm the one who's actually filming the videos. So Tanny is very, very happy with her medal. And next week, we will bring forward, finally, another teddy to replace Tanny and hope to wear a medal. I think at least 7 of your teddy bears have worn medals while Tanny's still been sitting there in vain. But now we will move on and look at our recommendations for the week ahead. And I'm going to ask you to start, Robin.
Okay, if anyone heard the phone going just then, I apologise. I'm not quite sure how it did that. My first recommendation is a serialization of a book called The Nickel Boys by Coulson Whitehead. It is currently on BBC iPlayer. Kind of bearing in mind that it is still Black History Month, this is a gritty fictionalization of the story of 2 boys who were in a children's home in Florida during the times of segregation, or certainly segregation-based ways of operating. It is, I think, it's very earthy, but it's an award-winning book, and it is in a series of 15-minute podcasts, so you don't have to listen to it all in one go. And I've just started listening to it, so I can. Yes, it is. It's a tough listen in places, but I think in terms of kind of remembering some of the awful things that have happened in the past, we can't let those things be forgotten.
Absolutely. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is actually live streamed from COP26. So again, you don't have to be there to join in from home. And it's a film called The Ants and the Grasshoppers. The event runs from 7:30 to 9:00 on Sunday the 7th. And it's a new documentary by author, filmmaker, and academic Raj Patel. And it shows how the fight for climate action is also a battle for food sovereignty, racial justice, and gender equality around the world. And there'll be a conversation between him and Food Tank President Danielle Nierenberg following the film's screening. So all of the booking links will be on the website. But it looks like a really, really great event and just very, very interesting. But it's not the only free streamed event around COP26 by any manner of means. So do just, if you've got the time, just search COP26 online and see what comes up. Julie, what would you like to recommend first?
I found a lecture on Tuesday evening between 7 and 7:45 by an ex-curator at the Tate Modern. It's called Peaceful Mind. It's an examination of contemporary landscape artists and traditional Korean art. It sounds fascinating, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's available via Eventbrite.
Yeah, that does sound fascinating. I'm definitely going to join in on that one. Tracy, what's the first thing you have for us?
The first thing I've got, and apologies that I'm still on my recycling my recycling message. It's actually an app, and I found this app at the App Store, and it's called Go Green. So if you go onto the Go Green with apps, there's a series of 5 different apps looking at the environment, learning about the environment, sustainability, looking at monitoring your own carbon footprint. And then there's 2 games on there, which of course I like to play a bit of a game, but that is for all ages. And the games are around, so you could make, your fairground, but instead of having loads of electricity, you use solar panels. So I think it's a really good way of bringing it to the younger generation for them to look at alternative ways of heating things and running things. And then the second game is for even younger than that, it's for toddlers. So I was like really impressed with that. So yeah, I'll be exploring all of those particularly.
Wonderful. And in fact, actually, it reminds me, I probably haven't said this because it's only happened in the last week or so, that we've been nominated as Newham's Green Business of the Year by Newham Chamber of Commerce in the forthcoming Newham Business Awards. We actually won Green Business of the Year, I think in 2018, and this is the first time we've entered since. So I'm particularly pleased that we're taking up these recycling themes today. I wanted to just flag up that next Thursday, 11th of November, there is a free, discussion, seminar, conference, whatever you want to call it, but it's titled On and Off Screen Diversity, Why Does It Matter? And it's 1:30 to 3:30. And they say, have you ever thought why diversity matters in the cultural industries, or how representations about race are made? This event will answer these questions and explore with you how things can be done better. So it's very much aimed at finding solutions and moving forward rather than talking about how bad things are, which I always encourage. What have you got next for us, Julie?
The Royal Museums Greenwich have devoted a whole website to what they call Our Ocean, Our Planet. And it's talking about understanding how to navigate the ocean and how to protect it. There's a lovely bunch of resources about shipping, about ocean life. I really recommend looking at it, and it's free, of course.
Robin, what have you got for us next?
I've got something which is called the Stanford Neurodiversity Summit 2021. This actually goes on from the 7th, which is Sunday, right through till Wednesday. When you see it on the listing, it says 4:30 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. That's because that is our new winter time, because this is actually coming from Colorado, I believe. But it looks like a really amazing event looking at inclusivity across the board. So not just in terms of how they're running a conference, but in terms of how people are employed, how we make education, how we make study, how we make work as inclusive as possible for anyone with a neurodiverse background or condition. And they particularly want to hear from people who would define themselves as neurodiverse to join in the summit over the 4 days and bring their experiences to bear on future design.
It's another example of these great home-based offers, isn't it? Because the States have always had really high-powered conferences and events around disability. Partly it has to be said because the private medicine system actually kind of creates a market, if you like, where there's, people, they have a lot of subsidy from people coming along to advertise. But we've never had an opportunity to go from the UK unless people pay and travel all that way. So it's just amazing to suddenly be able to participate on an equal basis. I'm going to throw in, because we've been looking at over the last few weeks, things you can do online as a group, whether it's joining in to sing or joining in to play the guitar or ukulele, joining in to have a jam. This is a harmony singing project for all abilities, and it's facilitated by somebody called Jess Baker. And it sounds really interesting. They sing in harmony, which means different people sing different parts. And she uses a loop pedal, which I can't quite imagine how that she does that, but I'm very, very interested to find out. So if you fancy joining in with some singing, but you found some of the sort of choir projects, just a little bit middle of the road or not what you want to do, then try the harmonies. And I'm also going to flag up that on Monday from 7 to 8:45 p.m. Again, free and online. And I should have said the Song Swan Project singing group is also free. So on Monday from 7 to 8:45, there is the premiere of The Giant on the Bridge. This compelling combination of story and song interweaves 5 unique perspectives on prison homecoming. A giant trapped in a dungeon searches for her heart. A daughter waits for her daddy to come home. An artist tries to help people make sense of it all. And this is part of a festival that's been taking place in Scotland called Distant Voices. And it's all about work that's been produced between former prisoners, artists, writers. And it's been a whole long festival, but some of the recordings are also online. But it just looks like a very, very interesting event for everybody. Robin, have you got something for us? And then
Uh,
you.
I think Tracy's got one more, haven't you, Tracy?
I have. And this is like my alternate recycling event, and it's a BBC programme, which is on, I believe, on a Monday evening, but it's also going to be on BBC iPlayer, and it's called The Bidding Room. I don't know if you've seen that, but basically your everyday person goes in with with something that from their past or something they've acquired. And it's usually a bit sort of antique, and then there are four dealers, antique dealers, and they've got to bid for the item that the person's brought to them. It's really exciting because sometimes someone can go in there with something that's been valued at £20, and the full dealers are so excited to get it that they go up to even £200, which is a great bargain. It's not a bargain. It's good for the person that's recycling their product to get a good markup on what they got it for. I just enjoy watching some of the things that come through the door are amazing. From antique drawing boards to children's wooden toys. It's just really, really good. And watching them all bidding, squirming, competing against each other to get the item is a bit of fun. So I'd really recommend that. It's easy watching.
And I think it's another thing about recycling, isn't it? Don't just put it in the bin. Your bit of rubbish might be somebody else's desirable vintage object. Julie, very quickly.
The poetry theme for next week is glitter and sparkle.
Thank you. I should have said that earlier. Thank you for the reminder. So if you'd like to join in with the Poetry Club from home next week, it's all about glitter and sparkle. And I'm not even going to point out how bad glitter is for the environment at this point. But we're going to hand over to Robin, who's written a new song, nay shanty, and is going to teach us the chorus before we start. Having said that, given the latency issues, I'm not sure we'll join in, Robin, because I think joining in from this end might completely destroy it. Or we might join in but put our microphones off. But teach us the chorus anyway.
Okay. So this, I've just called it an ecology song. It's I've used a very well-known kind of tune. So I haven't written a new tune, and we'll just it's going to be unaccompanied. So the chorus goes: when the climate is at stake, and there's a need to just replace how to generate our power and reverse human mistakes. Do you get the needing feeling when your rubbish hits the ceiling that the world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break? That the world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break. Now, I'm so good at singing unaccompanied. Um, like all good sea shanties, we all sing slightly out of tune, I am sure, and when it all comes together, it harmonises beautifully. So I will go with the song. So the song is called An Ecology Song. Here we go. Are the seas where you live? Is the deeper place to rest? Do you frolic in the waves? Is underwater where just the best? When you feel the gentle waters or just playing with the otters, do you understand the need for now to do just what we ought to? Do you understand the need for now to do just what we ought to when the climate is at stake? And there's a need to just replace how we generate our power and reverse human mistakes. Do you get the needing feeling when your rubbish hits the ceiling that the world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break? That the world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break. Did you Hear the axe swing. Was there any hesitation as the canopy drops through the verdant vegetation? Do you understand the need for trees for respiration? So let's bring an end to policies of Amazonian deforestation. So let's bring an end to policies of Amazonian deforestation. When the climate is at stake, there's a need to just replace how we generate our power and reverse human mistakes. Do you get the needing feeling when your rubbish hits the ceiling that the world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break? And the world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break. When there's bottles in our rivers and microbeads in our foods, when the fossils from the past have been exhausted as our fuels, we will find a better future when we value life and nature, when extinction is extinct and we all do what we should. Where extinction is extinct and we all do what we should. When the climate is at stake, there's a need to just replace when we generate our power and reverse human mistakes. Do you get the needing feeling when your rubbish hits the ceiling? The world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break. The world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break. If the ice cap becomes fluid and the water levels rise and our houses are on stilts and we're reaching for the sky, will we get ourselves new wheelchairs with floats and sails and oars? Oh golly, sorry. I'm going to start that verse again. If the ice cap becomes fluid and the water levels rise and our houses are on stilts and we're reaching for the sky, will we get ourselves new wheelchairs with floats and sails and oars? We have got to change the way we live before the planet dies. We have got to change the way we live before the planet dies. When the climate is at stake, there's a need to just replace how we generate our power and reverse human mistakes. Do you get the needing healing when the rubbish hits the ceiling that the world is turning toxic and the planet needs to break? At that the world is turning toxic and the planet needs a break. Yay!
I have to ask what tune that was supposed to be.
Oh, I don't know. It's it's easier when I'm not trying to fit the words in.
Kind of a mashup between a lot of those songs that sound very, very similar, I think. I think you could claim that as an original tune, probably, Robin.
Oh well, fair enough.
Just as well, YouTube won't chuck us off in terms of the algorithm because we've used copyright material. So that's pretty much all we've got time for this week. Like I say, if you'd like to come to Zoom together on Thursday, the 4th of November, then please drop us a line, info@together2012.org.uk. Do look out for our festival. Again, come to our website, together2012.org.uk. You will see right at the top of the menu, Together 2021 Disability History Month Festival, starting on the 11th of November. It's all free, it's all online, and it's all bookable through a simple, clickable link. So we'd love to see you. There's lots coming up between now and the 9th of December. So, like I say, drop us a line if you'd like us to send you the information or anything else, info@together2012.org.uk. And happy recycling. So that's a goodbye from us.
And goodbye from the West Midlands. Bye.